Hello and welcome to this week's video. This week I'm coming to you on the road from Germany, and hopefully we'll be able to complete tonight's VM before the restaurant closes downstairs, and I'll still have some time to go and eat some schnitzel. Okay, so the VM we're doing today is called JORDAN INFOSEC, and I've already got my instance of Kali running on the system here, as you can see. So let's go ahead and log in and get started. Okay, both my attacking Kali machine and my JORDAN vulnerable VM are actually running on host-only adapter. I'm just going to go ahead and check the IP addresses. So our attacking VM is on 101. And I'm just going to check that my ping sweep script has the correct IP, which it does, the correct IP range there. I'm going to drag that into my box there. Go ahead and run that to look for the IP of the vulnerable VM. Okay, great. So we're going to be attacking the vulnerable VM on 102. So the next thing we'll do is a port scan to see what services this system might be running. So this particular VM is designed in a way called catch the flag, which means that our goal is to actually find 5 different flags on the system. And ideally, if I can get myself to root level privilege as well, that'd be quite nice. I'm just going to go ahead and clear that now, and we'll go ahead and run our nmap scan to see what services are running on the ports. So I'm going to make it a very verbose scan. I'm not going to do host discovery. I'm going to try and identify the operating system and just put in a few further parameters there of how I'd like to scan the ports. And I'm going to scan all 65,000 odd ports, and finally pop in the IP address of the target, 102, and I'll go ahead and let that scan. Just full screen that as the results come in. Okay, so we've got a couple of responses, port 22, probably SSH, and also port 80, the web server port. So while that's finishing, I'm just going to go ahead and try and SSH to that port 22 and see what kind of response it gives me. Okay, so it does look like it's an SSH service running on that port, and I'm also going to open up my web browser. And I'm going to pop in the IP address here to see what we get on that port 80. Okay, so we get a login form for the website of some kind. Let's go ahead and have a quick look at the source of that. Okay, what I also noticed is during our nmap scan, you can see here on the left, because we actually run some of the default scripts, it's actually done a quick scan of some of the directories. I can see there's a backup directory, there's an admin directory, there's an admin area, there's a root, there's an uploads, and there's one called flag. So if we're lucky, we may have just found the first flag there. Just move this over here. And let's have a look at the flag directory. Great. Okay, so it looks like we found our first flag, which is this nice long number here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to further explore these directories on this website. So we do know 1 or 2 from the nmap scan, but just to give me a bit of a a better picture of that, I'm going to go ahead and run directory buster from the command line. Then the IP address of our host. And let's go ahead and give it a word list to use. Now we'll just use the common text file list there and fire off the buster. So again, you can see admin areas come back up again, assets, CSS, flag, which we know. Okay, so I'm going to start picking some of these out and exploring further. So let's go for the admin area. Admin underscore area. The admin area not work. Okay. Let's go ahead and have a quick look at the source. That's always one of the first things I do in this type of challenge. Okay, great. So it looks like not only do we have the second flag, but we also have a username and a password. So username admin and password evil hacker with various symbols, uppercase, lowercase, and numbers being used. So now let's go ahead and see whether we can actually log in to this front page of this website using those details. So remember we found this first. So let's try the username admin. And let's try and copy that password over. Let's see if we can get into this login form. Great, so it looks like we've successfully logged in to the JORDAN INFOSEC website area here. The first thing we're presented with is what looks like a file upload page, which is very good news for us. As this is running PHP, maybe one thing we can do now is we can start exploring whether we can upload a PHP web shell onto the system. Okay, so first of all, let's try and find our web shells on our system. So let's go to our user directory, or USR directory, and we'll go into the share. And you can see this version of Kali Linux has a nice collection of web shells which we can look at. So let's go into the web shells folder. And we're going to go for the PHP. Let's just have a look at what's in there. Okay, so this PHP reverse shell is the one I'm going to try. So first of all, let's go ahead and copy that to our desktop. In fact, I'll move that straight into my... no, I will put that on my desktop. Great, you can see it's just popped up in the top left there. And let's go ahead and just have a look at the content of that and see what modifications we need to make that web shell work for us. Okay, so here's the content in the top right. Okay, so the couple of things we're going to need to change is firstly we're going to need to change the IP. So we're going to need to make sure this knows how to call back to our attacking machine. So we'll put in our attacking machine IP there. And we'll use the port 5555. And then we'll go ahead Control X to exit out of that, and save our file changes to our file. Great, so now let's go back to our web page. Let's actually try and upload that file. So we'll browse to it on our system, grab the one on our desktop there, and upload that file. Great, it says success in the top left, so that sounds good. Now, I don't think it's just going to be sat on the root of the directory of the web service, but let's give it a go in case it is. So getting a not found there. Let's go back to our Deerbuster results and see what other directories on the system which it may have landed in. Got the admin area there. Let's just full screen that. I'm going to go ahead and run that just on the left hand side of the screen. Okay, let's see if we can work out where this uploaded file is going to land. So we've got the admin area, assets, our flag. Okay, the robots.txt there, I haven't actually checked that out yet. So let's go back and check out the robot.txt file. Robots.txt. Okay, so this has given me a nice bit of information about some of those folders we've seen before. Uploads and uploaded files definitely looks like something I want to explore a bit further. So let's see if our file landed in uploads. Nope. And let's try uploaded files. Great. Okay, so it looks like we found our web shell, but in order to get it to connect back to us, we need to set up our netcat listener on our port 5555 on our attacking machine on the left there. So now that listener is set up, let's visit it again. Great, so it now looks like we have a low privilege shell on the system as www-data. Great, so what else can we do now? So let's have a look at what directory we're sat in. Apparently we're sat in the root directory. Let's go ahead and list off the files on the system. Let's browse back into the web directory and have a little look at everything which is going on in there. Okay, so there's a couple of interesting text files sitting there. One's called flag and one's called hint. Now it looks like the permissions are set on that flag file, meaning that we can't look at that flag file because it's owned by a different user, Technawi. But let's have a look. I think we can read that hint.txt file. Great, so we found our third flag. And it also says to find the user Technawi password to read the flag.txt file, you can find it in a hidden file. Okay, So what I'm going to do here then, first of all, I'm just going to quickly see what other files on the system I can read. So can I read what users there are? Yep, I can. So you can see we've got root, and right down at the bottom there's our TechNowie user. Let's see if we can read the shadow file to see the password hashes. Permission denied, as we would have expected. So let's try and find that hidden file where we're looking for TechNowie's password now. So I'm going to go ahead and do a find search here from the root directory for any file which is a .text file. Oh, messed that up. Let's try again. So let's go ahead and clear that, and we'll just re-establish our shell there, and we're going to find everything from the root directory down, which is a .txt file. And we're going to pipe that to xargs, grep it for any instances of the word password. And go ahead and click search. Okay, so that's finished now, and I can see right down the bottom we've had a hit on a file in etc MySQL, conf.d, credentials.txt, and within that file it features the string password, and it has a potential password which we can use there. So I'm going to go ahead and just cat all of that file. So etc MySQL conf.d credentials.txt. Great, so we found the fourth flag there. You can see the fourth flag is this number here, and we now have a username and what looks to be the password for TechNowie. So the next thing I'll do is in the upper right hand corner I'll go back to my SSH service which we know is running, and I'll see if I can log in as TechNowie. On our vulnerable system 102. It's going to ask me for the password, so I'm just going to copy that on the left there. And paste it in. Great, so we now have SSH access to the box as the UE TechNowie. So the final thing I'm going to do is we'll start by browsing into the web directory. And I'm going to look at that flag file which we were unable to read before. Brilliant, so now we've found the fifth flag. The fifth flag is this number. Good job. You find 5 flags and got their points and finished the first scenario. So basically we finished the challenge there. It was a nice little fun vulnerable VM. But what I'd like to do is maybe see if I can elevate my privileges to root as well. So let's have a look at what we can find in the TechNow home directory. So we'll browse into home. Browse into TechNow, the user which we now are, and let's have a look here. So there's a couple of things there. So first of all, sudo as admin successful. So potentially we can use sudo to elevate ourselves to root. And there's also a bash history hidden file. So I'm just going to go ahead and have a quick look at the bash history. So this looks like it was the creator of the VM setting up the various flags, setting up the various directories. But what they were doing was using sudo vi or vim to edit a lot of these files. So I wonder whether we could actually use a command, just as you can see at the end there, to actually just use vim to escape out and elevate our privileges to root. And we need our password for TechNow again. That may have worked. Let's have a quick look. Great, so now we are root. So we've gone from boot to root. And that's the end of this VM. So thanks very much for the people that put this VM together. And I'll see you in the next video.